Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program. In the last episode, we did a little bit more astronaut training, and have some better idea about how properly to fly around in rockets, and also, like, we can look up research archives and see what kind of stuff we've actually previously done. Wow, look at all this! We've done a bunch of experiments. 7 reports, 24 hidden. Why? What does this mean? Why are they being hidden? Oh, because they had no value. I see. So these are the things we have done and the science we have gotten for them, I guess? Or the crew reports that we have done, rather. And the value we got out of them. So it looks like you really only get value out of a crew report once. Unlike science readings where we seem to get it diminishing but not zero returns for future uses. So we did it from Kerbin's shores, the launch pad. So like if we did this on the top of a mountain or something, I think we would get more stuff. Like there are more kinds of places we can go, I believe. Atmospheric pressure scans from a few places. Mystery goo observation in space, yeah, okay. So this is like, everything is currently not worth very much. Everything we have ever done before is no longer worth much of anything. Temperature scan from space is worth a little, and so is an atmospheric scan, but not much. Okay, cool. We don't know anything about the moon yet. Situations? Science reports from like, landing? From recovering vessels, basically? Or this is... I see. So we can filter by what we did. And we can also, if we want, filter by where we did it. Right? Like here, this is stuff done in low space orbit. In space, low. Ah, so we could do some stuff further out in space and get a bunch of science for it, probably. Okay, well that's interesting to know. So we could take some science equipment up into like a high Kerbal orbit, for example, to get a bit more value out of it. So what else can we do? We can research this. Resource transfer? I don't know what that... Oh, I see. So we could upgrade this. It would be tremendously expensive and not really do much for us. We're not really pushing the limits. Basically, we can only research one more level of technology before we have to upgrade this. And also, if we want to do off-world surface samples, we'll have to upgrade it. But there's no rush to do that yet. Like, what does upgrading administration building do? Active strategies. I see. So this is how we can do stuff that like. So these were about shifting resources around. If you have too much money and not enough science, or too much reputation and not enough money, or something, you can move stuff around in there. And we can also, like, right now, in fact, we kind of have more money than we need, and not as much science as I would like. So we can say, take away some of our money income and turn it into science instead. 1 science for each 12,800 funds, and it also costs takes... Oh, I see. So this is immediately converts... I thought it was like setting up... This immediately converts money into science, it looks like. So we could spend a quarter of our money-ish. That looks like half. I don't know why commitment 25%, but okay. And it would give us some science. I'm not sure exactly how this all works, honestly. But we could turn money into science if we wanted, but it looks kind of expensive. We could stand to Alright, well, whatever. Recovery transponder, fit in. Okay. We could stand to have more science, but also, like, there's plenty of stuff to spend money on, like, get more parts. We're kind of pushing on the limit of that, although, as we learned in the last episode, that's because we've been getting to space in a very inefficient way. If we do it efficiently, like, honestly, the stuff we have now, I feel like ought to be enough to get us to the moon and back if we want. Max active contracts 2. So if we upgrade, we could have 7 contracts? Wow, that is a lot. Do we want that? Do we need to have a bunch of active contracts? Right now, we just, like, need to test a bunch of things, and we don't even have the science to let us do it. So, that's not really that exciting. But the astronaut complex, being able to do EVAs, that would be a good way to get more science, right? Just go outside and do a crew report from, like, an EVA report from flying around outside the ship. That sounds pretty cool. And I mean, it's 75,000. It's not free, but it's not super expensive. What does this do? Okay. Patched conics visible in map? Whoa, I don't know what that means. Clearly, I don't have enough science knowledge in real life to understand this. And I don't know what... This is like the Deep Space Network power, I guess. I'm not sure what that's all about. Okay. The other thing is, if we really wanted to go to the moon, don't we need, like, more electricity stuff and, like, RCS thrusters and all kinds of things that we don't really have right now? I don't know. We just, like, need more science, and I don't know how I'm supposed to get it. I guess, like, go into high orbit, try getting to the moon. Those would all be useful. We don't need electricity for that, necessarily. I could upgrade mission control, right? We don't need that. Upgrade administration building. Definitely don't need that. The astronaut complex, and that's the main thing that would be useful. Basic action groups. I don't know what action groups are. We could upgrade the VAB if we wanted, but I don't think that's particularly necessary. Let's just upgrade the astronaut complex. Cha-ching! Great. And now we can fly in EVAs. Great. So let's try loading our clearly dangerous ship. There it is. And take this and put it on the other side. That seemed... I remember thinking that was going to be a good idea. Zoom out. It's a little... Get on there! I can't make it go on at all over here. Why? I can't make it go on this side either, honestly. Why is that? Is it because there's, like, not room for it? Like, that's obviously dumb. It thinks it's attached, but it's crazy. Turn on snap, maybe? What if I turned on symmetry as well? It just goes the craziest places. Would lifting that up at all help? What the hell is wrong with you, vehicle assembly building? You're crazy. Alright, that actually looked almost right. It's just too close. I need it to be further away so that we have a little clearance for this engine. Well, let's just undo a million times till we get it back where it was. 'Cause I think that was better than having nothing at all. Even if it does mean we're pointed sort of not the way I would have liked to go. Actually... Whoa! I meant like this. There we go. Yeah, that's a simpler way to do it. And then maybe... Okay, well, whatever. I'll just leave it like this. So, remember, this is definitely way more than we need to get to orbit. But I want to see what we can do with this ship, having built it already. And, if the answer to that is like, we can actually get to orbit around the moon, like, that would be pretty cool, right? I feel like if we're going that far, we might want some batteries. Because we do sort of run out of electric charge eventually. Although, does the engine that we're using here, does it generate electric charge? How would I see that? Wouldn't some of these show me like that they generate electric charge? Where would I see that? 'Cause I thought we had some that did. Well, this thing shows us, doesn't it? Yeah, generator. It shows on the right panel there, so if one of these did, it would be on the right, and it looks like none of them actually do. Okay. So, I don't know. I feel like we might... we might lose the ability to turn the ship if we lost generator power. If we lost electricity. And, like, I don't want that to happen while we're at the moon. So, just in case... Oh, we're at 30 parts. Very funny. Well, let's rip off one of these satellites, parachutes, and replace it with a battery, because we really don't need that many. I don't even think we need this one, honestly. Get out of here. We'll just put a battery on there. Again, I don't think we really need it, but you never know. And we could put on like an antenna, so that we could transmit back science results rather than having to carry it all back. But, I don't think that's a great use of our electricity, and also we should be able... I don't think we'll, like, get a bunch of value from, like, observe the mystery goo, send the science back, then observe it again. Like, we just... You get less value out of science for transmitting it than you would from returning with it. So I don't think we need to do that. Okay, well, we have one part left. Let's make sure we're not blocking the hatch, which we were. How many we have? Okay. So we do want some... a sizable chunk of mystery goo attached. But we don't want it actually parallel, because then it would be blocking the hatch. Or, you know what, actually what we can do is put these guys on like that, and just move the batteries, which are not going to be duplicated, to here. And so now at two ends of the craft we have these mystery goo, and at one end we have battery, and then over here is the hatch, so Jeb can get out, or Valentina, or whoever can get out and do an EVA report. Okay, so now we're back up to 30-ish parts. 29. I feel like we still don't actually know whether this thing can shield us from landing at more than 25. at more than 5 meters per second. And we have a spare part, so let's just pop one of these on, just to be safe. Save. And we're going to try taking this at least into orbit, and then hopefully to high orbit. And if we have enough leftover oomph, which I think we really ought to, we'll try taking it to the moon. Although maybe it's better to just be a little less ambitious, try high orbit. Oh, show me the Space Center? We should maybe pick up a contract or something? Do we even have any that we can make progress on? I don't think we do. But let's just double check. No, not here. Here. Explore the moon. What is this all about? Pass by the moon. Alright, well that's actually what I wanted to do anyway. And that's really the only thing we can test, right? We don't own any of the other pieces they want us to work on. So let's take it. And now, go to the clearly dangerous thing on the launch pad. Yeah, these are fully active. Okay. So which way is east? Because that's the direction we want to go, right? Our heading now is 90 degrees, which is here, right? Yes. So pressing S will send me this way-ish, I guess. Throttle up to like 1/3 maybe? And I think we're all set. SAS is on. Allegedly we don't need that according to the last flight tutorial, but I really would prefer to have it on. The staging all looks fine still. We could put these two stages together, say, or no, these two stages. Once you're done decoupling the lower stage, immediately turn on the upper stage. But I like to have a chance to look around while we're up in space, so yeah. Let's lift off in 3, 2, 1. Alright. What is this all about? Prograde or retrograde? Huh. Well, let's... No. Okay, try pressing this direction instead. Alright. Apparently I need to press D this time, not W. I don't understand why at all. How's our liquid fuel looking? We are... or solid fuel. We're running low. And we're turning much more aggressively than we were previously, which is on purpose. Whoa! Okay, we pitched a bit there. Can you, like, hang on to this, please? What is even happening to our orbit? I would like to get more horizontal if I can, but which direction is that? Okay, like this? Okay, just hang on to it right there, please. How are we doing? Alright, 54. We'd like to get a bit higher than that. Like this? 59. Yeah, let's aim like this. Get a bit higher. We wanted to aim for 80. How's our fuel looking? Almost out. Let's just cut the engines here. Save ourselves a little bit for getting into orbit in the main stage. Alright, so that launch did not go perfectly, I have to say. We sort of lost control when we desaged the solid boosters. I'm not sure why. And I had a little bit of trouble getting myself oriented properly once we lost them. So I feel like getting to the moon, not going to happen. But we can probably manage to get into a somewhat high orbit. Oh, let's, can I set a maneuver somehow? I can't. In the tutorial, I could left-click and a thing happened. Here, I can't. So maybe we need to unlock some technology to have maneuvers? That explains why it all seemed so hard for no reason. We don't have the technology for it yet. I want to get horizontal, please. Like there? Okay. And let's maybe aim a little bit closer to our prograde. No, let's just aim right at the prograde. And give it full throttle here, see what happens to our... As we use up the last of the fuel in this stage, we probably won't get into a stable orbit. Yeah. So stage... Ugh. Have to leave map mode. Stage... And stage again. We want to keep on burning. We're still pointed pretty much prograde. That's good. Alright, well... Maybe the high Kerbal orbit is a little bit more optimistic. We might not have enough fuel to do that again. Or to do that yet. So clearly we had some issues in the initial takeoff. We're not quite as weird an inclination as we had last time. We're closer to equatorial than we were before. What's our periapsis? 44... 60... 72? Alright, let's see how much fuel we have left. Very little. Really just enough to get out of orbit, honestly. But our apoapsis is quite far away, so I think we can do some, like, high orbit. I don't know if this counts as high orbit. It's probably, honestly, not yet high orbit. Let's just time warp, like, times 100 to get over there. And if it's not, I don't know. We can maybe burn a bit more back at periapsis, and see if, so we can go back by burning here. And I guess we should, honestly. We don't have to do it on this lap, but, we do want to get back, so, because we can't transmit any of our science otherwise. So, crew report is worth nothing, right? Oh no, we're high in space. Great, so we're getting a ton of new science on this trip, it looks like. Observe the mystery goo. Yes, it's right at home. 15 science. Oh yeah, give me that science. Okay, great. Look, no, cancel. Open up the bay here so that we can observe the materials stuff. Bunch more science. Okay, this high orbit is well worth it. Close the doors. Close the bay. And, hey, Jeb, what do you think about going out and looking around? Give me an EVA report? Wow, we're in space. Amazing. I could let go and sort of fly around, but honestly, I don't know the controls well enough to trust myself with Jeb's life here. Was it Jeb? I wasn't even looking. Yeah, it was Jeb. Okay. So how are we doing in terms of our orbit? We're right at apoapsis, so this is a good time to point... no, that's... I actually want it to be right there, please. Right there. That's retrograde. Full throttle. Okay, that's going to bring us down. And we can go ahead and just flip over for fun here. We could jettison the thing in either direction, but I think it's kind of more aesthetically pleasing to send it behind us than ahead of us. Cool. Now let's just get turned around and get ready for a landing. So I'm glad we made it into high orbit here. I wasn't sure if this would count as high, or if high is like over here or what. I don't think we could have made it to the moon. We would have had to adjust our orbit to be a bit more equatorial to get out there. There's Minmus. Someday, Minmus. Someday we'll come check you out. But for now, even the moon is a bit ambitious, given how well we currently can fly. Yeah, wow, look how far away the planet is, Jeb. Isn't this amazing? So what is this? I can tell SAS to head towards retrograde or prograde. Is that the deal? So I can say retrograde. Yeah. Or I could say prograde. And Jeb's like, wow! What a wizard! He does that so much better than me. Holy cow! So I think we got this... because Jeb is now a level 1 pilot, I think, is why he is able to do this. Yes, he has retrograde and prograde hold. Okay. Amazing. That makes sense. Oh, look, in his log, he's made 2 orbits around Kerbin in his life. Jeb, you are a lifesaver. Good work, buddy. What is this? Remove slot? I don't know. I don't think we want to do that. That would, like, eject him into space or something. So cool. I'm glad that we have these. It's been a challenge a number of times to, like, hold these myself, and now that, Jeb can do it himself, honestly, like, that's just great. How are we doing? It's gonna be a while, I think, until we land. So let's go ahead and... Did you guys see when I accidentally right-clicked the menu? Does that show up in the thing? No, it doesn't. Nice. I accidentally right-clicked and, like, brought out the Windows menu covering up the screen, but you guys didn't see it, so lucky you. And, Jeb, are you hanging on to prograde or something? What's the deal? Retrograde, I mean? Let's turn off time warp. Does he just not do it while you're warping? Yes, that's what happens. He figures when you're warping, nothing important is happening. Okay, fair enough. It's true it wasn't a big problem. So we are now facing retrograde, thanks to Jeb. And we're coming back in. We got the heat shield. I keep forgetting to, like, get rid of some of the excess ablator, but it doesn't really matter. And we're coming in pretty fast, but I trust Jeb to hold this nice and steady. Much better job than I would do at it, I'm sure. So this is all about, like, your communications network while you're in space, and I don't know. Jeb, you are keeping it right, yeah? Looks that way. We're just, stuff is exploding. What stuff? Did we lose the mystery goo or something? Not sure. If so, we're gonna have to start, like, transmitting that. No, I see the mystery goo still. I don't know what exploded. We're at a pretty survivable... Yeah, okay, I was gonna say, this seems like it's gonna be fine. So what did we lose off the ship here? I see one mystery goo here. I see the other one here. There's the batteries, just in case we did end up going into moon orbit and needing this. Yeah, we have tons of electric charge, it looks like, I think. 119, I don't know. Who knows how this all works. Looks like we're coming down in the ocean. So that's another thing, is I should have considered where, like, when I was adjusting my orbit, I could have tried to aim the landing zone towards an ocean. And also, I forgot, the amount of money you get back from recovering parts varies by how close you are to the Space Center. And so we could aim to be close to the Space Center on the way back. But honestly, these parts are not worth very much. Let's deploy the parachutes here. These parts are not worth very much. Most of the expense that we spent on the ship has already been lost since we blew it all up. But, you know, you might as well try to recover more money if you can, I suppose. So this should be the most science we've had in a very long time, having reached a new part of the universe and done several experiments about it. It'd be nice to have a scientist on board to multiply that stuff, but the pilot was way more useful. Having SAS is a big help. And it's kind of cool how they like teach you, they give you new tools as you learn like how to use them, right? Oh, forget about the SAS chip. You can just let it go. Okay. Cool. Like, I wouldn't have known what to do with those tools at the beginning of the game. I remember looking at them and being like, what the heck is all this garbage? But now it's like, oh yeah, just stay towards the retrograde. Thanks, Jeb. So it's good to have that available right now at around the time when I kind of know what to do with it. And I don't yet have any particular need for the other settings, but I imagine in the future I'll want them at some point. So we picked up a whopping 77 science from this the ship. Mission. Voyage. I don't know what word I was looking for. Missile is not it, though. So we got a crew report and an EVA report, so that's 20 science from Jeb. And materials study, we got 37.5. The mystery goo was not worth nearly as much, just 18.5, but still something. And a little bit from recovering the vessel. Meanwhile, in terms of parts, we still got like all of it back, right? We landed 1,000 kilometers from Kerbal Space Center. Okay. We recovered 44%, so I'm not sure. It says the part value for these is 3.52. I don't know. Whatever. It's a mystery. Crew. No XP gain. You went into space, Jeb. You were in high Kerbal orbit. No XP gain, my eye. Alright, so, we could pick up any of this stuff. We have 135. So, like, there's a few new engines they want us to test. Like the Poodle. They also wanted us to test the Ant, I think? Maybe the Spark? I don't know. And they wanted us to try the hydraulic detachment thing. And, or any of these? Oh, this is like aviation or something? Yeah, this is like wing connectors. An inline cockpit, sure. Yes, this is all for, space stuff. Landing. So this could be interesting, I think. It would be nice to be able to land on the moon, but we can't even get there yet, so... What the heck is all this? Wrench the command pod up and away from a malfunctioning robot. Rocket. Huh, I don't know what that's all about. Space exploration. So here's a way to store extra crew. Oops. Okay, and this is a ladder. And this is rover wheels, I guess. And down here we have electrics. A better light. Solar panels. Interesting. Okay, so that's where we can get all this stuff. Okay. Well, we've had a look around at this. But I guess since we're at the end of the episode, looking around at this now is a little bit silly, huh? We can pick this up at the beginning of the next episode, I suppose. All in all, a very successful flight. Not as successful as it could have been. We had some uncertainty on our way out of the atmosphere, but I think we'll get the hang of things a little bit better as we do a few more launches. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.